when music changed everything. It wasn't just the hair, or the neon lights, or the leather jackets. The 1980s were a revolution, and at the center of it all, rock music. Imagine flipping on your radio in 1981. The Rolling Stones were still around. But now, something new was rising. Louder, bigger, braver. MTV had just launched. Music wasn't just sound anymore, it was a show. And the bands that understood that, they didn't just make songs. They made history. The 80s didn't just give us one kind of rock. It gave us glam. It gave us metal. It gave us heartland stories and stadium screams. And the songs? They became soundtracks to breakups, makeups, rebellion, and raw emotion. But there were 10 that did more than that. 10 songs that didn't just live in the 80s. They defined it. And behind each one, a story you've probably never heard. Let's start with a scream that echoed across arenas and almost didn't exist at all. The anthem that almost got cut, Livin' on a Prayer. Before John Bon Jovi was a legend, he was just another kid from New Jersey. He had the hair. He had the look. But the industry wasn't convinced. They said he was too polished, too clean, not enough grit. Then came a song about Tommy and Gina, a couple barely surviving in a tough world. A love story wrapped inside a stadium anthem. The early demo, it was a mess. John hated it, said it didn't feel right. He almost tossed it, but guitarist Richie Sambora fought back. He said, trust the hook. They tweaked it, pushed it, layered the now iconic talk box. And suddenly, whoa, we're halfway there, was born. The label didn't think it would work. Too dramatic, too blue-collar, too long. They were wrong. The moment it dropped, Livin' on a Prayer exploded. Not just in America. Worldwide. It became an anthem for everyone who'd ever struggled and still held on. It was more than a song. It was hope, blaring through car radios, boomboxes, and MTV screens. And yet, behind the scenes, John still thought it was overrated. But the fans decided otherwise. And the anthem that almost got cut became immortal. What came next wasn't softer. It was louder, faster, and made in California. Shredding the Rules, Sweet Child O' Mine. Los Angeles, 1987. A band of misfits was tearing through Sunset strip clubs. Drunk, loud, unstoppable. They called themselves Guns N' Roses. They had nothing. No money, no fame, just raw talent and attitude. Then Slash picked up his guitar, just messing around. He played what he called a circus melody. It was just a warm-up riff, until Axl Rose's ears perked up. Within minutes, Axl was scribbling lyrics. Not about fire or rebellion, but about love. For his girlfriend, Erin Everly. Sweet Child O' Mine didn't fit the mold. It was too soft, too tender, but it was real, and it burned. They recorded it in one take. No fancy tricks, just heart. The label didn't believe it. A ballad from a band known for chaos. But when it hit the airwaves, something wild happened. The riff, the voice, the energy. It was pure lightning. And suddenly, a song born from a joke riff became the anthem of a generation. Guns N' Roses were no longer underground. They were everywhere. But not all 80s rock was about chaos and fire. Some of it was built on poetry. And one man from Indiana knew how to speak for the working class. Born to run from the spotlight. Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen never meant to write a hit. He meant to write a truth. In 1984, Reagan's America was booming. Flags were waving. But Bruce saw something different. Factories closing. Veterans forgotten. Dreams fading. So he told their story. Born in the USA was not a celebration. It was a cry. A story of a soldier, broken and abandoned. A patriotic scream wrapped in thunderous drums and echoing synths. But here's the twist. Almost no one heard the lyrics. They heard the chorus. They saw the red bandana. And suddenly, Bruce was being used as a symbol of American pride for a song that was actually about American pain. Even Ronald Reagan tried to use it for his campaign. Bruce? He said no. He knew what the song meant. Behind the scenes, he was torn. He wanted to disappear. The fame, the spotlight, it wasn't him. But the song kept growing. It topped charts, filled stadiums. It became an anthem for both sides of story. Springsteen never changed the message. He just played louder. And that's what made it powerful. a song misunderstood, but never forgotten. From America's heartbreak, we crossed the ocean, to 5 Irishmen and a Sunday that changed their lives. A bloody cry for peace, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Dublin was restless. Bombs, riots, tension thick in the air. U2 was still young, still unproven. But Bono had something to say. He watched his country bleed, and he couldn't stay silent. Sunday, Bloody Sunday wasn't just a protest song. It was a prayer, a desperate, aching cry against violence. But U2 was afraid. Would this song divide fans? Would it get banned? Edge laid down that sharp, military riff. Marching, demanding attention. Bono stepped up to the mic. He didn't take a side. He took a stand. The song dropped like a bombshell. People listened, then argued, then listened again. Some radio stations refused to play it. Others played it nonstop. And U2? They stepped into the spotlight, ready or not. Sunday, Bloody Sunday made it clear. Rock didn't just scream. It meant something. By now, rock wasn't just wild guitars and stage dives. It was becoming political, personal, and deeply, painfully human. But not every band wanted to preach. Some wanted to blow up the sound itself. And one drummer with only one arm was about to change everything. The miracle behind the drums. Pour Some Sugar on Me. Rick Allen was just 21 when everything changed. A car crash. His left arm gone. Most people thought Def Leppard was done. A drummer with one arm? It sounded impossible. But Rick didn't quit. He relearned how to play, with custom pedals and pure will. The band stood by him, and they built something new. Pour Some Sugar on Me wasn't just another glam rock hit. It was a victory lap. The band had spent years recording Hysteria, an album that almost broke them. Endless delays, fights, frustration, and now, a single riff, a sticky, sweet chorus. And suddenly, they were back. The song wasn't even planned as a single. But once it hit strip clubs and radio stations, it exploded. Girls danced. Guys cranked it in cars. Everyone sang along, even if no one really knew what it meant. Behind the glitter and glam, a drummer who beat fate. A band that refused to fall. But just as rock hit its sugar high, a darker, heavier sound was rising. Born in the underground, forged in fury. And 4 angry kids from California were about to rewrite the rules. Puppets, pain, and power. Master of puppets. Metallica didn't want fame. They wanted respect. In 1986, they weren't playing by the rules of glam or radio rock. They were loud, fast, unapologetic, and they had a mission: to expose the truth beneath the surface. Master of Puppets wasn't about love or parties. It was about addiction. How something that gives you power can end up owning you. 8 minutes of blistering riffs, brutal drums, and lyrics that stabbed. No chorus to sing along. No polished hook. Just raw, grinding truth. The band didn't care about radio. They didn't need MTV. But their fans? They felt it. Kids who felt lost, angry, betrayed. This wasn't music. It was war. Then tragedy struck. Their bassist, Cliff Burton, only 24, died in a bus crash while touring Sweden. The band was shattered. They almost quit, but they didn't. They kept playing, and Master of Puppets became more than a song. It became a monument to Cliff, to pain, to everything Metallica stood for. They never asked for the spotlight, but it found them anyway. And while metal was rising in fire and rage, one man was doing something totally different. He wasn't shredding guitars. He was dancing on rooftops. Jumping into a new era. Jump. Van Halen was already famous, but they hadn't crossed over. Not yet. Then Eddie Van Halen did something unthinkable. He played a keyboard. That simple synth riff? It changed rock forever. David Lee Roth didn't want it. He thought it was soft. Too pop. He almost refused to sing on it. But Eddie knew. When Jump hit the airwaves, it exploded. A rock band with a synth lead? It shouldn't have worked. But it did. Suddenly, Van Halen wasn't just for guitar lovers. They were for everyone. The song had energy, optimism. It was bold, bright, and totally new. But behind the scenes, tension was boiling. Eddie and Roth were clashing. Over style, control, the future. Jump took them to #1 and helped tear them apart. On the next album, Roth was gone. It was the perfect metaphor for the 80s. A leap forward with a cost. But the decade wasn't done yet. Because somewhere in Seattle, a storm was brewing. And the final blow to 80s rock wasn't a song from the 80s at all. The End of the Glitter, Smells Like Teen Spirit, bonus twist. A new band dropped a song that made record labels panic. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Grunge. Dirty. Honest. A slap in the face to everything 80s. Suddenly, eyeliner, hairspray, and spandex felt fake. The 80s rock gods? Gone from the charts overnight. But here's the twist. Without the 1980s, Nirvana wouldn't have mattered. Because the 80s raised the volume, pushed boundaries, taught musicians to be fearless. From Bon Jovi's Defiance, to Metallica's Rage, to Springsteen's Poetry. Each song we've talked about wasn't just a hit. It was a turning point. They defined a decade. And in doing so, they gave the next one something to fight against. The 80s didn't end quietly. They went out in flames. With solos, synths, and screams. And those echoes? They're still with us. Because rock never really dies. It just turns up somewhere else. And it all started with 10 songs that changed everything.